Hi everybody. So we are back. We are back with the second webinar, and whoever is the first time here, my name is Irina, and this webinar I will do with my colleague Dana. You also see her with the video. Yes, and we are from Russia. We are from Contact Point for Erasmus Youth and European Solidarity Corps in Russia, and we are also mentors for our alumni in Russia, and we proposed to deliver this mini course, let's say, of 3 webinars. And the last one we had last Tuesday, it was really general about, theoretical stuff, what is youth exchange, what is a training course, so that knowledge of all participants would be the same, because some people are really new to this and some people already have experience. So today we are moving on. So today it's going to be more, let's say, professional, maybe something more of what you expected from this course. And yeah, so since the topic which we will discuss today, it's more deep, let's say it's more profound, it's going to be longer than last time. We are thinking it's going to be about 2 hours. So we hope you will stay concentrated, and we will try to help you to stay concentrated. Yeah, and I think that since more or less you all know each other because you are all alumni, if not in person, then online you somehow met already. We will not do the introduction thingy. We will just move on, and Dana will the topic. Let's define the topic first of what we are doing today. Yeah, we will talk about writing grant application, theory and practice. So kind of evolution of our 3 meeting is that first we find out what it is about. Second is that we write application for the grant. And third, what we will do on the next Tuesday, we will talk about implementation of project itself. So now how to get the money, yeah, how to get the money for what you want to do. First, I wanted to mention about the birth of idea. So basically, this shouldn't be just because of your wish. It shouldn't be just for your experience. It shouldn't be just because you want to do it and you think it's cool to do it. It should actually be something that has a meaning and that is important for you and for the community and for the young people that you are working with. So successful project is the one that tackles important problem which exists in society. It should be really concrete. For example, for example, when we look at different projects which our partners publish, we still see sometimes projects which are not really defined. They are so blurry, really. They can be about European values, and this is like a notion which is so big. And it's better, really, it's better if you just take some really concrete topic, something you can actually touch, something tangible, yeah, and then deal with it. Also, one more thing, and I'm going to send you also one document later. I'm working as evaluator of projects in National Agency of Serbia. Don't ask me how it happened. It's really it's really chaotic. But anyways, I'm 3 times a year I'm evaluating applications. And the most often problem which we are facing is that people are writing really watery explanations. They're like la la la, and there's nothing detailed. So it's really important if you take some problem which needs to be solved in your society, and then when you know the problem, when you define it, you should define the type of project which you want to implement. So this is what we discussed last time. It can be youth exchange, it can be training course, can be contact making seminar or job shadowing. So you need to realize by what means you will solve this problem. And the type of project depends on what really you want to do and what type of problem was there. So I hope it's clear, yeah, that you shouldn't do it just for fun. You should do it for solving of an actual problem. Okay, then on this slide, please have a look at the things which are underlined. So all the rest is really just for the record. So this is like technicality, who can take part. Normally, organizations which take part are NGOs, non-governmental organizations, can be public bodies, for example, municipality or any other public body, or it can be a group of young people active in youth work. So in simple words, it's called informal group of young people. So if you don't have a registered organization, and if you don't have organization which you could work with and ask for such support, you can also be an informal group. You just need to get a name, you have to know who are your people in this group, but otherwise it's not really important. All the rest is really just some words. I don't even know what it means, like European grouping. It's too complicated, but just for the record, you have it on the slide. Okay, then about technicalities, organization which takes part and which also applies for such project needs to have organization ID. And this is what it looks like. It starts with a letter, and then there are numbers. So I'm going actually to send it to your, I'm going, what is it? Just a second, I will just stop the demonstration for a second. I'm going to send you a slide, not a slide, oh my God. I'm going to send you a link. There is a question here, will you send us a presentation or record? Yes, of course, we will send it just later. So this is the article which I sent in chat. It's in Russian. So if you speak Russian, you can take it. If not, you can ask from your mentors or from contact point from info center in your country for instructions, how to receive this number. Basically, it's pretty simple. You need to go to a website of European Commission and get registered there. So in the beginning, you put some basic info like name, address, telephone, you know, all this basic stuff. And then you need to attach 2 documents, which would be legal entity and financial identification. Legal entity is basically just a paper confirming that you exist, and then there is a signature, and if you have a stamp, there is a stamp. If there is no stamp, just a signature. And financial identification is for your bank account. So basically with the document, you prove that you have a bank account. Then you upload the documents, and then automatically you will receive this number. And now you know how it looks like. So basically, yeah, this is what you will be looking for. And in any case, in your country, there is an info center for Erasmus Youth. And if you are struggling with getting this number, ask them, they have to help you. This is their job. Okay, then who is who in the project? Now we need to define what are the roles, yes? So now we are talking about the process where you don't just send participants, but you are an actual organizer of the project. You take active part in all phases of the project. So there is a partner or there is a person, organization, which is responsible for logistics. And logistics is important because you need to travel, you need to be accommodated somewhere, you need to get food, you need to get materials. All of this is called logistics. Second part, which is not less important, second role is facilitators. It can be 1 person, but it's better if it's at least 2, because if it's 1 person, it's too exhausting. These are people who are running the program. So these are people who actually made this program, who know what all these sessions will be about, and they deliver these sessions. So these are people who know something. They don't know something. They are able to facilitate. They are trainers, and they know how to work with groups. So basically, they are running the program. And then there are group leaders, and then there are participants. Group leaders are for youth exchanges. In training courses, there are no group leaders, there are just participants. Of course, they are not less important, because if there are no participants, whom are we working for, right? Yeah. So this is really important. This is about who is who. Now we will talk about partnership. So since we are all based not in European Union, we are all organizations from so-called partner countries, we cannot apply for the projects ourselves. We need to have a strong partner in European Union, someone that we can trust, and someone with whom we will discuss absolutely all questions in advance, not to have any surprises in the future. So this is the partner with whom you are making this project happen, but they are the ones who are clicking the button submit in the end. And if they are submitting this project, it also means that they are taking full responsibility for that they are taking responsibility to get the money, to distribute the money, to deal with the report, to deal with any questions of national agency. So they really take this responsibility. But of course, it depends on your agreements before, how you distribute your roles and tasks according to what we were speaking before. Okay. Another practical matter. Yes, and of course, I'm going to envisage your question, how to find this good, trustful partner. Actually, we will talk about this later. I have another slide about this, so I'm going to tell you. So deadlines, this is a time when you need to have everything ready, and Dana will talk about it in more details. Normally, there are 3 deadlines in a year: February, April, and October. Normally, it's like beginning of February, end of April, and beginning of October, but sometimes they are changing. And especially, I think, in the last 2 years at least, they always moved them, right? Then I think there was never a time when it wasn't postponed. So, but it's better not to hope for it. It's better to have everything ready before. Yeah, so this is the time when you apply. This is actually the latest time that you apply, and if you don't want to have any stress, it's better to do before. Then after deadline, from 8 to 12 weeks are passing by, and then you know the results. Basically, usually they write to the applicant organization, and applicant organization is a partner in European Union, and they inform them about positive or negative outcome, or they also publish it on their website. By they, I mean national agency. They publish it, and it's written the name of the project, the score which it got. So basically you will find out if you got the money or not. So about this period of from 8 to 12 weeks when they're making decisions, so how it works is that there are external evaluators from each national agency. These are people who are competent enough to evaluate your project. They are reading through this and they are giving you scores. Basically, each application is evaluated according to 3 parts. This is relevance of the project, like why this project is actual, why it really needs to be done in the current time. Then there is the quality of design. Basically, they are evaluating how well you wrote the application, how profound your thoughts are, how well did you think through the program itself, all of these things. And third part is about impact and dissemination. So they don't want the project to just happen for this certain amount of participants and then everybody forgets about it. No, their point is that each project needs to have a lot of impact on societies, on target groups, on organizations, and young people, and blah, blah, blah. So this is an important part in the applications where you have to write how you will spread the results. And this is important. And many organizations, they think it's not important, and they just write total, I don't know, I don't want to say bad words, but they write really not carefully. And that's why they get less scores. And the lesser amount of scores you get, the lesser are your chances to get the funding. So basically then all of these three numbers are calculated together. Then you get the final number. And then the application has to pass a threshold. So if it's above 60 points, then it meets the criteria. And then it's going to be, it's pure mathematics, basically. So the application which got the most scores is on the top, and then the list goes down. And then the list goes down until the, let's say, time when budget is finished for a certain deadline in a certain national agency. So I hope you got the idea how it works. Also, this is a process. So external evaluator gives comments, then people from national agencies, they add a little bit of their comments, and then they decide who gets the money and who doesn't get the money. And then they tell you about these results. Now, maybe we should play a game. Okay, so the budget of the project consists of several parts. First is transportation costs. So basically participants need to get to the project place and back home. And this is called unit, not unit cost. Anyways, there is a limit for transport, and it depends on kilometers between home country and location of the project. And this range differs from 20 to 1,500 euro. For example, the most often we see kilometers from 2,000 to 3,000, and for this range, the limit is 360 euro. But if the range is smaller, it's smaller. For example, it's like 275, and then there is more. There are really projects, I don't know, if you go from Kamchatka to some kind of island, which is considered French island in the Caribbean, then I guess it's gonna be 1,500 euro. This is the biggest amount. Yeah, then there is organizational support, and organizational support includes food, logistics, and accommodation. So basically within this price range, you need to feed the participants, you need to give them a place to live, and you need to provide all logistics. By logistics, I mean, for example, paper, markers, any kind of materials which is needed for the learning program. And this is also very different. This is ranging from 28 to 76 euro per day. So it also depends on how many days your project lasts. And why is it so different is that 28 is the price with which youth exchanges start. Basically, in youth exchange, you get a smaller amount of money because it's considered that young people who take part in youth exchange, they can stay, for example, in a hostel, they can stay in simpler conditions. So you don't have to put them in some, I don't know, very expensive rooms. So they can be together in bunk beds, like 4 or 5 people in one room. But there is a bigger amount for training courses because it's also for more professional people. There are sometimes participants which are like older than, I don't know, older than 40. Sometimes there are participants who are 50. I think I can hear myself for some reason. And that's why for training courses, this price is bigger. And it also depends on the country. Can you guys turn off your mics, because I can hear myself. And then it's also depending on the country, because, for example, prices in Poland and prices in, let's say, Norway or UK are very different for food and for accommodation. That's why in Poland it would be a smaller amount, and in Norway it would be bigger. Then there are such parts which are called special needs support and exceptional cost. Special needs support, it's for participants with fewer opportunities, and it's asked upon request. For example, if one of your participants or more than one of your participants are in a wheelchair and they need a accompanying person with them all the time, then you can include into the budget money for this accompanying person. Or for example, if you have, again, a person with fewer opportunities, for example, someone who cannot see, or has any other kind of physical disability, then maybe they need to get their own room, not to share their room with somebody, and you can put some extra costs for the separate room for them. And exceptional costs are something that doesn't fit into any other costs, but you might need them. For example, can be visa costs for participants from outside of European Union if they need a visa. I don't know, but I'm suspecting that after pandemic times, we will need some kind of papers confirming that we don't have COVID-19 to travel. So maybe we will need these papers confirming like tests, and this will also require money. So maybe this will also be included into the budget. But here I'm really just guessing. And then let's see in simple words. In simple words, you have to keep all tickets and all bills from organizational support and from transportation. But whatever isn't spent stays with you. So basically, if you had a limit, for example, of 360 euro for the ticket for each participant, but this participant found cheap tickets and he was lucky to travel, for example, for 200 euro, it means that 160 is left over and basically stays with you. You don't have to give it back to the national agency. You definitely don't have to give it to the participant, because participant gets only what he has spent. And this money stays with you, stays with your organization. And the same with organizational support. So you have to provide decent accommodation, decent food, and preferably coffee breaks. And you need to have all the materials. So there should be papers, there should be markers, there should be any kind of other materials which are necessary. There shouldn't be anything lacking. And if you manage to find a good hostel or a good hotel for a good price, and they give you a good food and your participants aren't starving, or the food there is not repetitive, is not the same every day, it means everything is fine. It only means that you managed to find a good deal for yourself and you managed to save money, basically. And all of this money stays with you. And concerning special needs and exceptional costs, you have to keep, again, all the bills. But if something is not spent, you have to return it. You have to return it back to national agencies. So you have to be careful when you're calculating this exceptional cost. You shouldn't put too much, because who needs bank transactions, you know? Basically, whatever is left goes to the organization, goes to the work of experts, facilitators, logistic people. They all need to get some kind of salary for what they did. So you need to decide with your applicant organization how it will be distributed, because organization in European Union will get this money to their account and then they will distribute it from there. They will pay the participants for their travel, they will pay the hotel, they will pay the food, they will pay all the materials, and then whatever is left. And in the majority of situations, you can't really predict how much will be left because of the tickets. Sometimes you don't know until the project starts how much the tickets cost for your participants. And then after the project, all of this is calculated and you have to decide. You really have to decide before, how we say in Russia, на берегу, meaning on the shore, before you start swimming, yeah, you have to decide who gets money for what and in which amount. Because if you haven't discussed it, there might be some misunderstandings, some situations when you feel offended or something like this. Yeah. And then another important thing is that organization in European Union, I mean, the applicant gets 80% of money before the project and 20% they get after final report submission and approval of this report. And this can take several more months because national agency also is loaded with work and they have to read the report and they have to approve it. And only after that, they get this last amount of money. Basically, this 20% are kept to make sure that organization gives actually the report, because without the report, they don't get this last amount of money. Okay, since this was a really actual topic for many people, maybe you have questions about money and about whatever I said before. Maybe I should answer them now. Do you guys have questions?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, no problem. In that case, I will move. I don't have actually a lot. I'm just gonna stop the sharing for a second. I'm going to send you now in a chat the links, because we will discuss how to find partners. And this is a very sensitive topic also, and many people who are new to this, they're asking, oh my God, how can I find partners? This is so hard and blah, blah, blah. But like in any situation in life, to be able to do something, you just need to start. You just need to make a first step. So first you go to contact making events or some projects that you've been before. And this is the safest way to meet partners, because you see them in person. You can talk to them as much as you want to. You know them personally. It's not just some person from Zoom or from Skype like I am for you now. Yeah, so this is a person with whom you established already a contact. If you don't have enough of such partners, but I would advise you to have this applicant organization partner, someone whom you know before. Maybe if you went for a Solidarity Corps project, this can be your ex-hosting organization, or someone that you know from that country who works for NGO, so with whom you have already established this contact. And the first link which I gave in the chat, it's for European training calendar, and this is where you can find this partnership building and contact making events. Then if you need more partners and for some specific topic, you can go to so-called EPlus platform, also link in chat, or a database of European Union, and you can search there by description or by keywords, by country, of course, if you need a specific country. So basically just read the description and approach this organization, ask them to be your partners. Okay, and then the last resort, I would say, is Facebook groups. You can just write on the wall there that you are this partner from this country, you are looking for this certain, I don't know, ideas or partners or whatever, and then maybe somebody will reply. This is also the links I gave. There are actually many such groups on Facebook. I just gave you links to the biggest ones. Or another safe way, which kind of corresponds with the point number 1, is that you can ask from your mentors, you can ask from your info centers in your country. If you have been for Solidarity Corps project, ask your sending organization. Maybe they can suggest you their partners. It's okay to share partners. Sharing is caring, right? So this could be also an idea. So this is how you start. You have to basically just approach people and talk to them, and yeah. What else did I want to say? I wanted to say that normally these roles which we were talking about, they are divided. So I would say, and this is my personal opinion, that in a perfect project, one person or one organization deals with logistics, and another person or another organization deals with the program. Because it's important that trainers and facilitators, they don't have their mind on these small matters like who is vegetarian, who doesn't eat fish, who is not tolerant to lactose, who snores and wants to have a separate room, because there are many kinds of questions that you may get before the project. And work of logistic person is a lot of little things. And if you are immersed into a lot of little things, then you can't think about bigger ones, meaning about the program. So it's better to divide it, but of course it's different in every case. And when we do the recording of this webinar, when we send you the link, together with this link, we will send you 10 tips and tricks for filling out application forms, which I prepared based on my experience as evaluator. This is what I pay attention to. This is what we are advised to pay attention to when people fill out application form. And now I give my word to Dana.
I will go to the part and talk about what exactly is the application and what to do if you want to apply the project for consideration of national agency. So all the application is going to be applied online. You don't need to do it on paper and so on. And below on the screen, you can see the website through which you can do it. We will also send this link with all other materials in the letter, but you can also copy it. So when you fill in the application, you will need to make 4 things. First is to answer the questions. It's quite many of them, but small life hack if you're interested to do not once project, but a bit more time. Several questions will repeat from one application to another, and your work will be much easier every time. Second thing is you need to do is to attach some detailed description of every day. So what's going to be on the mobility during it. Some workshops, sessions, activities, and so on. Another thing is to sign mandates. It's kind of agreements with each partner. It kind of confirms that they are ready to participate in the project and they are aware of details and so on. So it basically requires just their stamp and signature, if exists, of course. And the last thing is declaration of owner, which is signed only by applying partner from Europe. It's basically said that yes, we are applying the project, we are not lying anything that we're gonna do, and some things like that. Last 3 documents, their templates you can easily find in this application form. So unfortunately, applications now are closed because deadline was not that long time ago. So now there are no open calls. However, next one will be in October. But when it will be open and you will be able to enter there, on the left side, you will see the menu where you will be able to switch between chapters, and there will be so-called annex chapter. And when you will click there, you will be able to download all these documents, and it will be kind of already draft of them. So nothing to do from zero, don't worry. And now let's go with the details about the application. As I said, it has quite many questions, but first things, main aspects from where to start when you start to do an application is here on the screen. So firstly, define what will be your topic of the project, what kind of social issue you will solve with it, and what's its relevance. It's very good in the first question when you describe all of that to attach some links which will prove your worth. So it's not just your thoughts, your wishes, but it's really something that already defined by society, by scientists maybe. So your project has some value. And also in this question, you will need to set some objectives. I would advise to do from 3 to 5 because it's quite optimal number. When it's 10 of them, and I really saw such cases, it looks a bit too watery. And when it's like 1, 2, maybe it's not that big. How to say that? Wish. I mean, it's nice to have a bit more. I will give you some example. Last time I told you about projects that I had in Latvia about digitalization. So what was written in this part is that our humanity digitalized more and more, and a lot of aspects of our life start to be online. And I guess all of us already grew up with laptops or PC or smartphones, and it's so usual for us to have Facebook, Instagram, and I guess quite many people have this problem when they just have a phone and scroll the screen, or maybe when a company of friends just somebody start to stuck in a phone and don't pay attention to others. So it all like influences us on our body health, development of some soft skills, which are useful actually for offline life, but in online we are unable to develop them, or it influences our productivity and efficiency, achieving some goals, and even can cause some serious diseases. And maybe you also notice after yourself when you try to read some book, you already 3 times read the page and your thoughts are flying somewhere. So it's kind of some distraction. So some attentions that they're losing with the years because sitting in a phone and devices which are memorizing a lot of things instead of us, and so on. And of course, some people even have some dependencies on internet or gaming, and there are even some special hospitals that are created for such diseases. And yeah, so because of that, we are young people from several countries discussed this problem and decided to create a project where we will learn how to use digital technologies more consciously and safely for our life. And we set 5 goals, something like involve participants in a conscious choice of gadget usage, or discover together effective ways to use digital instruments in various spheres of life, and so on. So we wrote that this is not something, our feelings that we are stuck in the phone, but it's also proved already. We insert several links on some researches. We give a links that there are really hospitals existing for people with dependence on technologies, and so on. So when you are writing some objectives, it's cool to use some words maybe like discover or gain experience and knowledge, involve participants, engage, and so on, like raise awareness, something like that. It shouldn't be super precise, like there are no rule about it. And basically later on in application, you will have some part like dissemination, and there you can be more precise and set some goals, after which you will conclude that if you will do that, your project will be successful. So smart system is not really needed in that objectives right now here. Second thing, after you defined what will be your project about, what issue will solve, you will think of what participants will be interested in your project, who will come. For example, for our project, we decided we would like to see people who feel that they spend too much time in their phones and gadgets, and who are looking for a more balanced life. between online and offline spheres, and so on. If I have some project about soft skills or unemployment, it can be something that you're looking for participants who are in university or just finished it or unemployed, so for whom it will be really actual. Or if it's some project about event management for NGOs, it would be nice to see people who are really engaged in NGOs, not maybe professionally even, but as members and volunteers. And what else? If it's some project about urbanization, it's nice to have participants exactly from urban cities. And if it's a project about some, let's say, small entrepreneurship or development of rural area, it would be nice to see participants from small settlements and villages. Also think what participants with what fewer opportunities you can include in the project. As we said last time, in youth exchange, it's especially important because European Commission wanna engage a lot of, as much as possible, participants, young people to such project, and to include more the ones with fewer opportunities. I guess on your trainings in Georgia or Ukraine, you already learned these 7 categories. So just check what is suited your project and with whom you're ready to work, because it's not just choose the category, but it also describe what will be done in work with these young people, how you will help them, and so on. For example, if it's some young people with a difficult economic situation or from villages, probably they never traveled alone or they never been abroad. So you can help them. You can write an application that group leaders will help them with traveling issues, like maybe they will go together, or they will accompany them about buying tickets, like how to do that, what flights to choose, or maybe if they need visas, they will fully support them in preparation of application and answer all their questions, and so on. If it's some participants with some low English knowledge, you can say that our group leaders will have a high knowledge of English, and so they will support such participants. So I hope you get what I mean. The next point is about creating some agenda in details for each day of mobility. I will show you some document. I will also share it with you later on in a letter. I usually do it in such format. It's just for myself. That is what I created. You don't need to edit in your applications. So when I start to do the project, I see, okay, here is arrival day, day 0, where participants are arriving, they're just sleeping, resting, and here we start. Okay, what can be in the beginning? Get to know. And after we will do some introduction, and after lunch, what can be here? Okay, we can do some quest, whatever, and something else. So here I go day by day, just create an idea what workshops can be here, some sessions, brainstorming, and so on. So just to create some flow of the project. It's also nice to put some topic of the day. For example, this is introductory day, and here we plug into the topic. Here we do something else.
Jana,
here,
sorry.
yeah.
Are you trying to show us what you're typing or not? Because now we see your presentation main aspects.
Okay, wait a second. I guess I, wait. I will do it in another way. Can you see now this Excel file?
Da.
Great. So as I tell, okay, one more time. As I tell, in the day 0, you don't write anything. And on the day 1, you start like, okay, get to know, introduction, something else. So here is just a template where you can create some general idea and check your flow of the project. Here in the file, in the same file on the first page, you will see the official agenda, how it should be in application. Basically, here you will mention the time or part of the day, like before noon or afternoon. Here you will write in activities like it's gonna be workshop about blah blah blah, and here will be team building and get to know and reflection time. And in the here on the right part, you will need to detail it, like what exactly you're gonna do and in which format. So as you can see, here is written non-formal and informal learning methods used. So it can be different things like brainstorming or word cafe or team building activities or work in a small mixed groups or whatever. It's really many formats that can be done. I hope you also learn them on your trainings or maybe in your life. So basically here just describe what really you're gonna do. It shouldn't be in every precise detail, like a link to the exercise that you're gonna do, but you can describe it in general. Okay, I stop this. I go back. So when you're finished with the schedule, think what results you will create during your mobility. As we talked last time, project is not just for participants who came on a project, but also for all other interested parties. That means that during the project you need to create some results, which is summarizing your learned knowledge or anything. And after that, or during that, to disseminate it to other people. It can be done in really different ways. For example, if it's like some song, you can download it on SoundCloud. If it's some video, put it on YouTube. If you learn some skill, you can make a workshop back home. It's especially fine for mobility of youth workers. After youth exchanges, it can happen, but not always participants are that responsible to do something when they go home. So be careful with that. You also can do something during the project. For example, I also mentioned this example last time that on a project with about young drivers, we went on the streets of Vilnius and did some flash mobs there with some performances, and we give some leaflets to the locals. Or in project about hip-hop entrepreneurship, we did some performance with a dancing and singing on the main square of Zagreb. So that is how local people can get involved in it. In case of leaflets, they will learn about the topic, about the project, about the Erasmus Plus program. And in case of this hip-hop project, we also, after the performance, when people stayed on one place, looked at us, got engaged, we also told in microphone what is happening, who we are, and why we are here. So they also could learn what this project about and what we want to promote, let's say like that. Another thing you need to think is what knowledge, skills, and attitudes or behaviors young people will get through your project. For getting this, you can go through your schedule, like through each workshop or activity, and see one by one what for is that workshop. Okay, they will learn here this knowledge and this, and they will get this skill, and you just write it on your list. Don't forget to check with your first part where you describe the project and social issue if it really solved it. I mean, if you decided to talk about social issue, like about digitalization, that we want the participants to be more aware how to use gadgets safely for them. Check if they really learn to do that. Check if they practiced to do that. And I also met many cases when people had really cool ideas. I mean, they wanted to do on a project some really nice things, like, doesn't matter, kayaking or paintball. It's just simple examples, but even they could match to the schedule, like if it was healthy lifestyle. But the thing is that, as Irina said, your budget is not unlimited, so you need to keep it in frames. So when you had your idea, when you approximately form what is going to happen, check if it matches with your budget, and check if you are not in a minus, and so on. Of course, there are much more questions in application, but creating and understanding this 5 ones, you will have some general picture of what's going to be on the project, and other questions will be just formed nearby it. I don't say that they are less important. Neither evaluators think so. So don't pay all your attention just to these 5 points and do nothing for others. Please no. I left the link on the bottom part of the slide to these 2 files with all questions and with timetables that I showed you. So that is for people who are not on a webinar. Maybe they can just copy it in a search line and find it easily. For all others who are here now, of course, we'll send it also with a letter later on. So just simple statements and explanations to them. Maybe it's something about expectations. Project is a long process. Unfortunately, it's so. I will give you an example. Like me and Irina, we did together a project about soft skills of young people. And we come with the idea maybe at somewhere 218. We applied the project for October deadline, 218. Unfortunately, it wasn't approved, but we got comments, we made corrections, we applied it again for February deadline, 219. It was approved, fortunately, and we did the project in July 2019 still. After project, you usually have 60 days for making all dissemination activities, and after that you have 60 days for writing your final report. So final report was applied in December 2019. And my colleague with whom we did the project in Bulgaria told me in the end of April that the National Agency just approved the final report. So it almost took us a bit less than 2 years to make this project. Of course, it's not always intensive. Basically, we write it and then we wait a lot of time until the results. Then we have some time for preparation, and then 7 days for implementation, and then final report. I wouldn't say it's so intense except this week on the project, but when we consider it in general, it's quite a long process. Be ready for that. It's not, I wouldn't say it's so common case. Of course, some projects are happening much faster, even less than a year. It's also fine, but be ready for any case. Facilitator is not the same as trainer. What I mean, like, it's quite important if you write user exchange to use the word facilitator, because facilitator is a person who facilitates the process. He gives young people opportunity to share their experience and knowledge in a topic, create something together, brainstorm, and so on. He's not the one who, as a teacher, come to them and learn something, like making a lecture. He's just the one who create a learning process for them. Trainer is the one who can be on a training course in a frame of mobility of youth workers. So this person is more competent in a topic, he can deliver more professional skills or knowledge to participants. And it's totally fine for training course because people there are professionals. They came not just for soft skills or personal skills, they came for things that will help them in work. So in youth exchanges, we use just facilitator. In training courses, we use trainer or facilitator. Both are fine. Participants must be involved in the project. It's an important statement in a way that don't consider participants as the people who just come and chill out. They should also work and be engaged as much as possible to the process. For example, on preparation stage, they can bad weather. They can prepare some workshops and implement them during mobility. It can be even during whole day they can do it. They can prepare intercultural evenings. They can find some information or do the research. Don't leave them on their own. Ask them to do something, ask them to be involved. For example, participants from host organizations, they can meet other participants in the arrival day, or they can make an info pack. Other participants from another team can make some team building games, or they all together day by day can do some energizers on their own. So keep them busy, let's say like that. Partners must be involved in the project. Partners should, of course, I now talking you about ideal picture of youth exchange. There can be different cases. But in ideal picture, partners must be involved in the project in a way that they shouldn't just sign the mandate and then make the open call to find participants, and that's all. They should be, you should find their need to participate in the project and realize this need. Yeah, like implement. Yes, okay, hope you get it. Implement this need during the mobility. For example, it's a new partner who never participated in Erasmus project. Then during the project, you can learn them how to deal better with such projects, learn them the processes, how to prepare participants, what to do with them, because not for all of them it can be obvious that they need to have some preparation meeting with participants. Yes, so partners are not the ones only who make open call and anything. They can also share the budget for traveling between participants when they get on their account. Yes, they also group leader, if it's youth exchange, can be from the organization, and so on. There are many ways of engagement partners, especially the most effective was on preparation during project writing. You can send them several questions and ask them to answer them, like, why do you think your project will be relevant for your organization? How you're going to select participants, where you will find them, and so on. Just look at the application, what it can be. As Ira already told, in the beginning you get only 80% of the budget, and other 20 after you submitted final report and national agency approved it. But what's important here, you have this 80% and be very attentive and not to overuse it. And if you're going to overuse it and you are fine with it, be ready to pay it all from your own, like to pay it now and to get reimbursement after, or to pay from organization account. About this 20% is also important thing, like it can be not 20, but maybe 15 or 18. It can be some cases when national agency after report can minus some costs. I guess it happened on all my projects. Sometimes it's because they minus exception costs that weren't used. Sometimes it's something else. In some cases, it was like 40 euro less than should be. In another case, it was like 400 euro. Still fine, and we are ready for that risks. Also, also don't forget that it can happen. Oof, last slide, tips and tricks. You will have only 5,000 signs for each question. What I mean? Let me show you another picture. I will send you all the questions in this Word file. So they're relevant. It was the same on the last April deadline, so nothing old. What I mean, if there are several questions written in one, but it's considered that they will have only one field for answer for all of them. And for that field, for all these questions, you will have 5,000 signs with spaces. No more. So if it's like a space between questions, it means it's next question. So 1, 2, 3, 4 questions here. Hope it's quite easy will be to see. So let's go back. Put at least 4 working hours per day. When European Commission gives you money for the project, they hope you will not chill out on a beach near the sea the whole day. They are expecting you to have a learning program, so participants could take something from that day. It's not a written rule, but it's considered that 6 working hours at least is a good point to have. Usually it can be 1.5 hour workshop, break, 1.5 hour workshop, break, and so like 4 of them. This time also can include time for reflection, like half an hour, something like that, and intercultural activities in the evening, like intercultural nights. But don't put it for 3 hours because it's a bit weird, like 3 hours of a learning program and 3 hours of party. It's a bit strange, but like half an hour or hour is quite fine. Also, last time we were talking that according to the rules, you should have at least from 1 country 4 participants and 1 group leader. But also budget rules tell that if you have less than 5 people from the country, it's considered not like a team. So their budget will not consider it like a team at all, and they will cut it. So whole team will not get reimbursement for travel, and you'll not have organizational support for them. Of course, there can be some really emergency situation why it happened, and you can write some big letter to national agency and explain everything and provide 100 documents, and they will say, okay, fine, we approve this 3+1 people, but not to give you too much work about this thing and too much headache, just better to take at least 5 participants plus 1 team group leader. So if somebody will reject in the last moment, you will still have no problems, let's say like that. I even take 6+1 because we're with a needed country, so it's more safe. In a schedule, you will have like, let's say 7 working days, but you can also add 2 travel days. So participants could come a day before and have a rest in that day and sleep normally, because many of them will have crazy flights at night or early morning and they will be tired. So by giving them travel days, you will have them quite energized and energized in the morning of your first working day. The same with the last day. So after program finished, they will be able to sleep normally, to say goodbyes, and next day they will have to travel. It's also good in a way that for travel days, national agency give you additional budget because like for organizational support. And so you could pay for hostel for them and so on. Also, if you are needed to choose between two partners, let's say you decided to take Italy, but doesn't matter why, and you have two good partners from there, and basically they are not different, whom to choose. There are special distance calculator, which calculates the distance between town from where participants travel to the place of the venue. And sometimes it can be like 20 kilometers can solve something, like 20 kilometers more, and they have another distance band and they get more travel money, travel budget. It's nice in a way that participants are not that strict in buying tickets, and also good for you because you will have more money rest. Let's say like that. Almost finished, hold on. Another point is don't use I in applications because it sounds very selfish, and it also shows that you write your application on your own. As I said, youth exchanges are considered like projects that are done in cooperation of young people from different countries. So there can be I, it can be only we or they, whatever. In trainings, training course can be written by trainer, but usually it's not just the trainer, but also some organizers, like for logistics or for whatever. So it's also better to use we. Don't forget to involve participants with fewer opportunities, because program is really striving to involve them as much as possible. I know that for the next 7 years, like from 2021 to 2027, there will be a bit different Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps probably stays the same, but Erasmus Plus will be a bit different. And they want to put even more accent on participants with fewer opportunities. So it's very important to include them in a project. It will give your project more value. I would advise to do it from 30 to 70%. It's quite average number. I usually have like 50. It's fine. You can make so-called APV, Advanced Planning Visit. It's especially good if you don't know all partners and you want to build some good cooperation and get to know each other. So APV is a short meeting for 2 days in a country where a project will be held. It's happening like 1.5 or 2 months before the project, where group leaders come together and they discuss most relevant questions and the preparation of participants. It's very noisy outside, so if it's bother you, please tell me, I will close the balcony. Or better to tell because I don't see the chat. So APV is also financed by the program. You just need to plan it in your application. Another point is if you do your first project, I would advise to start with the youth exchange because it's much easier. Even from the point of financing. If you will look on a list of approved projects, you will see that youth exchanges have more budget and more big percentage of them are approved. Of course, it doesn't matter if it's a training course or youth exchange, you will get some comments if it's not approved after, and you'll be able to correct it. But still, it's just my advice. And if your project is not approved, just try again and don't be very sad. It's quite normal because evaluation is sometimes very random thing, and you never know what points you will get. Like, for example, once I applied my project in Lithuania, and I got 93 points. And it's very good, very nice points. But another project that was applied with the same organization, with another group of young people, got 96 points. So they said like, okay, we will give the preference to 96 points, and we cannot approve 2 projects from one organization. No, so sorry. I'm like, okay, 93, it's so great, let's apply it again. We applied it again next deadline, and the project gets 53 points. I don't know how it can happen. It's a very weird situation. The thing is that evaluation depends on evaluator and how they will read the application, if they will like it, and how much points they will good to give to according to their system. So it's not always very objective, but sometimes subjective. I hope I didn't mix these terms. So yes, that's all. Basically, with the theoretical material, we also wanted to, with Irina, to propose you one thing. If you are really excited to start writing a new project and you have maybe some idea, we can give you some small homework to write a short summary of your idea. Here on the slide, you have 4 questions which you will need to mention. And in order not to read a book about your idea, keep it up to 5,000 signs with the spaces. And if you want to add some links, you can short them with a bit.ly website, because if it's like that, 150 signs, it took too much space from you. So if you are ready to do that, it's not obligatory. You can do it until 15th of June, until next Monday, and send it to our mail. Both of us are reading it, and we will give you some feedback, what is good and what can be improved in your text. So if you're up, just do it. And I'm stopping the demonstration because I finished, luckily. I hope you're not dead. And we are ready for your questions.
What do you mean extend the deadline for homework? I mean, our next meeting will be on Tuesday 16th. So, but okay, if you're willing to do it, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This next week is fine, I think.
Yeah.
Can I ask another thing about the homework?
Yeah, sure.
So where we have to write it, in the form as you showed, or just in a maybe Word document? Just to
Yes,
keep
yes, just Word file, because form is closed now, because deadline is not that soon. So they're not opening applications now. That's why just Word file is fine.
Dana, maybe you can open again this slide and they take a screenshot. What do you think of the homework?
We will send it in a letter. Or, okay, I can send it. You can make a screenshot. We need it.
It's just, we don't know yet when recording will be ready. So if you are willing to do, just take a screenshot. Yeah, that was how much information. Yes, it was a lot of information, but we don't know how else to break this information into little pieces. So we hope it's okay. In any case, you will have the recording and you will have the presentation later. We also send you the checklists, which we're talking about. So yeah.
And all the links as well. I hope you are not scared after all this 1.5 hours.
Weather of St. Petersburg, right? You mean about weather of St. Petersburg, or?
Yes, as well, but I mean about all these materials.
Okay, but it was a little scary when it was okay. Guys, you have now a unique chance to ask us questions because we are online and we can talk.
Girls, I have a questions to both of you, then whoever feels more comfortable replies. First of all, thank you very much for this presentation, it was very useful. And I wanted to ask, these partner organizations in the EU, how experienced they should be? For example, if we are both like us in Ukraine, and then, for example, I have some in Greece and Cyprus, and they're still newcomers, they're just starting, will that be an important factor in evaluation? Most probably everyone wants to see more experienced partner, or it's still possible if we all starting from scratch, like all of us, how it works usually from your experience? Thank you.
Okay, I can mention from the point of evaluator that we have this point in evaluation form where we have to say how much this proposal involves newcomers to the action, to the Erasmus Plus program. So really, if no newcomers are welcomed, it's a bad thing. So it's a good thing that you will be newcomers. Then it's just a question to you if you are ready to work on the project and implement it later, like if you feel confident enough. If you don't feel confident enough, maybe it's good to have like one partner who is more experienced and who can give you some advice. But otherwise, if you wrote the application in a good way, there are no questions to you.
Thank you.
I would also add that, okay, I see Christina just a second. Maybe before you apply the project, like, or while you apply the project, you can also become a partner of some other project, of some more experienced organization, just a partner, not the organizer. So you or your participants, your members from organization or informal group can come and get a bit more experience how to work with the projects, at least as a role of group leader. It's quite many opportunities now to become partners. So I think you can find something in the same group on Facebook, for example, or EPlus, with some opportunities there. Okay, Christina.
Yeah, I have a question. Does it mean that a team of work are volunteers? So facilitators and organizers, they are volunteers and their work doesn't covered by grants. So you just do it like volunteers and no even any chance to get some, I don't know,
No,
for
why?
them.
We thought that the money that stayed in the end from organizational support and travel support, they goes to salary, to I don't know how to say it better in English, for facilitators, for organizers, maybe to hosting organization for development. So there is money that are needed to give back to national agency. So you can, for example, in our case in Bulgaria, we sign with a hosting organization some agreement, like they hire us as a trainers or facilitators, something like that. So, and according to this agreement, they give us money in the end.
Yeah, so, but if you remember, I mentioned that it's hard to predict how much money you will have in the end because you don't know how much the tickets will cost. So if participants manage to save money on the tickets, then you have more. If not, you can only predict the part about accommodation and food, because about hotel and food, you make agreements before and you know how much you have to pay and you know how much you can save from that amount. But
it's good to, yeah, it's good if you know some partners who are in nearby countries, so participants can travel by bus or something like that. Then it's more easy to predict, let's say like that.
Not
and
because I'm from Siberia.
No, they're more difficult. And what I wanted to add, and yes, like if it would be like completely free for all facilitators and organizers, I don't think that so much projects would happen around. Nobody would work for free so long time. So definitely not.
It definitely makes sense for people who do it.
I see some question from Lilia. If you would like to become a partner, not an organizer, where should we look for the opportunities on the same resources that you mentioned previously? Yes, on Facebook groups, they post quite often announcements like we are looking for partners from Ukraine or partners who are interested in art project or something like that. Just be careful with such calls and maybe ask for more information, because some of them can ask for a host fee like 100 euro, I don't know, can be different cases. And Ira gave you just one example of Facebook group, but basically if you type something like partner search Erasmus, Erasmus organizations and something like that, you will find like at least 10 groups like that. Yes, like It's more common for training courses about host fee. I see a question. Like sometimes organization can ask for some small fee when participants come for project. For example, when I was in training in Finland last winter, they asked 40 euro because it was very far away and organization didn't have any income from our travels because participants even need to pay more for their tickets. It was too high price. So they asked for some small fee. It was okay because I visited 2 trainings for them. So like 20 trainings, 20 euro for each, it was fine. Host fee, like fees also can be asked by sending organization. For example, for those who goes to youth exchanges. It's fine with the rules of Erasmus Plus. It's not like European Solidarity Corps where it's forbidden. In Erasmus Plus, it can happen.
I have another question. Like, is it important the budget? Like, if it's less, there are more opportunities that it will be approved, or this is not a thing?
No, not really, because the budget just depends on number of participants, and they don't care if it's like 30 or 45. Not a big difference. They can say that you have too much working days, please cut it. But I don't think if it's like connected with the budget or not. For example, once we applied the project for 10 days, they said like, oh, do it 8, please.
Okay.
Yeah,
you.
just you need to describe why you need certain amount of working days, why you need certain amount of participants, and if it's adequate, there is no opportunity to cut for them the money.
Okay, thanks.
If we are not, what do you mean? It can happen, or does it happen in all the cases?
About the fee. In case of hosting fee, when the host organization asks for it, I wouldn't say that it's so often, at least from my experience. I had such experience just twice on training courses in those cases. Regarding youth exchanges, I didn't met it, but it was for sending, from sending organization some fee.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sorry for this fee. For what they use this? Because some people say it's for logistics, it's for paying something. But you said also that it's included already in the budget that when we write the project. So why do these organizations need extra fee?
Well, they want to earn more money. It's quite
Okay.
simple.
Yeah.
I mean, last time some guy was asking about some case in Slovakia when there was a shitty conditions of project. So basically organizations wanted to do the same, like to earn some more money from the project. In case when they ask for some money, they don't want to give you bad conditions. They want to keep it good, but they want to still keep the good budget for trainers, facilitators, and organizers. Or it can be also connected with some extra activities. If you have some outdoor things like kayaking or whatever, probably it's needed to rent it, and they wanted to do that. And about sending fee, it's just for development of organization, because the sending organization also do the work. They support participants, they sometimes do some budget things, and so on. 150, really crazy.
I also met such kind of case. That's what I also wanted to ask. Is there a limit? How much can it be? Like 50 euros, it's okay, or 20, it's okay. But also 100, I also came across with this 150.
Crazy.
They asking, like the sending organization was asking for this money.
Too much. This is too much. So there is no limit. Nobody puts, actually it's not even mentioned in the program guide that these fees exist. But like Dana said, if you are hosting a project, for example, me and my friend, we were hosting projects in Barcelona. This is expensive. And since we wanted to provide good quality, we were asking for 50 euro fee, which is normal because you go to Barcelona, you live in a city center, it makes sense. And the same way for sending organization, but for sending, I would say it shouldn't be also more than 50 euro. Because 150, they simply do not do so much work. They just need to sign a few papers and talk to participants and be in touch, but it doesn't cost so much.
But sometimes you just don't have a choice. Can happen.
But then just don't support these organizations. Don't
Yeah.
apply. Don't apply to these projects. And I heard that in Armenia it happens, unfortunately.
I also heard.
Yeah, it
That's-
happened also with my organization, and not the one we were hosting. So our partner wanted this much money from his participants, and actually it was a youth exchange. And we understand that for youngsters, it's even more complicated to pay 150 euro just for participation. So yeah, and we can somehow punish them besides not applying with them, but maybe there are some measures that we can maybe to complain, let's say, to the national agency, or somehow to stop them, because they can do it over and over again if they do it once.
It's not illegal, so they can do it. But if you want to be organizer of a project, you can arrange at the beginning with your partners. We don't want participants to pay you the fee, or it can be not more than this amount. That is the only ways I know, unfortunately.
Yes, there are some local organizations in Armenia that it feels to me that they are doing this all for like business, and also it depends in which country is the youth exchange is. For instance, if it is in Great Britain, or if it was in Great Britain, it can be more than €150, and it can be much more. And this is somehow builds also disability not to participate, because not everyone can pay that kind of fee to participate.
Yeah, you're right, exactly. Especially if it's some participants with fewer opportunities, like economic obstacles, it's especially weird if they have such a big fee.
But where there are people, there is a desire for money, so there is nothing we can do. Okay, people have to leave. Maybe we can also slowly finish. What do you think?
Maybe you have some more important questions. If so, ask.
Okay, so thank you. We will send you the link to the third webinar and recordings later on. If you do your homework, feel free to send it. And yeah, thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
too.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.